You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Joyeux Noel. What's good, everybody? Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill, Monday edition of Leafs Morning Take presented by Bet365. Jay Rosehill, how was your Christmas, buddy?
There was no complaints. I think I've had 4 monstrous meals in the last 5 days or something like that. But yeah, lots of good things. Kids, presents, food, a little bit of boozing. Yeah, pretty good, man. How about you?
It was a Christmas to remember for the Alberga family. That's what I can say. I had a nice bout with, I don't know if it was food poisoning or the flu. Saturday, I did not sleep Friday night. It was a very, very long night at the office for yours truly, and the office was the washroom. So feeling a bit better, but man, oh man, anybody who's been in that position, it's not great. But yeah, it's been a very, very down time for the family, which is supposed to be a joyous time. But the best part about it was just to be with the nieces, giving them gifts. I love kids, man. Like, and I remember being the same way. You give them a gift. Okay, next. They don't even look at their gift. Like, it's the best part of Christmas to me.
They do get jacked up about it. I didn't know you were all that banged up. You are so soft to get sick on Christmas. What are you doing? Probably gave it to your
dude.
whole
I think I got food
too.
poisoning, man. I got a pit in my stomach, and then I actually went out on Boxing Day for a couple of sodas, and had to call it quits around 1 a.m. because I'm like, something's not going right. And I got home, and just till like 8-9 a.m. it was just hang out by the toilet for Nick Alberga.
Yuck! Maybe you got drugged out there like some of the girls you got.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened, man. Anyways, how we feel on this Leafs team, like it's been such a roller coaster year, and that's how my stomach has felt the last couple of days, where it's like up and down and up and down and up and down. Is it not the most Leafiest thing ever that they've responded accordingly to firing their assistant coach, Rosie?
It is kind of funny. I don't know. Like, I need to see more, but have they totally taken a step back and kind of revamped their approach? I know they've kind of done it with the power play, obviously, with Sullivan coming in there. But are they, we were talking on the chats during the game, like, have they been instructed? Have they revamped their style and their approach a little bit? Are they more puck possession? Obviously, that run and gun game there against Ottawa was a little bit unique with the high scoring game, but I'm going to be interested to see if are they kind of abandoning the dump and chase? Obviously, they weren't having a lot of success under it. It's interesting. Again, up and down. Sometimes I think this could be a damn good team, and sometimes I'm just disgusted in them. But one thing is, those last handful of games here, 2-3, they're playing with more passion. They're playing with more urgency. They look more confident. Austin Matthews is leading the charge in that department. So, yeah, yo, man. Half the time I'm written them off going, they're not going to make the playoffs, so why do I get my hopes up? And then the other time I'm like, well, they're 2 points out and they're looking fantastic. It's all over the place, dude, but it's good to see them playing a little bit better hockey, but it's hard to stroke them too hard when, like, you don't win the game against Detroit. Like, you got to find a way to win that game if you're going to do any damage. So I don't know where I sit on this bloody team, man.
Yeah, it could be the food poisoning, but I was watching the games over the weekend, especially the one against Detroit, and I'm like, well, like, where's that compete level been for the previous 25 games? Like, why did it take a assistant coach who ran your power play getting fired for you to start trying again? Like, I'm watching Matthews on Saturday night. This guy is like circa 2022, just doing everything out there, but like, where was that against Washington? Like, I know it's a pessimist view of things, but it's like, it made me more annoyed and rattled watching because I know what this team is capable of. I mean, far from complete. A lot of mistakes against Detroit. The Red Wings are a really well-coached team, it feels like. I like their blue line quite a bit. Edvinsson wins it, but that's all I could think back to is like how many squandered points the Maple Leafs have in the first half of the season alone here, Rosie.
Oh, and yeah, like the first thing you said to me, like when I was furious with this team and just like sickened by them, really, it's that lack of compete level. Like, they're going through the motions out there, and it's just the league deserves better than that. Like, it's so frustrating because it's like, are you guys seriously going to do an interview and act like we didn't just watch what we watched? And it's just so gross. And then when they're playing inspired hockey, and it just trickles down like from everyone. Matthews is the tip of it, and Willie can be rah. You see Troy Stetcher getting fired up. Nick
That was sick.
Robertson is just blasting off, and it just funnels down to everybody, and they look so good. But it's just inexcusable, the position they've put themselves in. And I know systems have a thing to do with it, and injuries, and it's not all one thing, but their level of compete, in my mind, is the reason that they're in this hole that they're in. And they have 7 teams ahead of them looking at a playoff spot. Even though they're jumbled up so tight, they're 2 points out, but you got to leapfrog 7 teams. And that, in my mind, is because of those performances that we watched where we're like, what the hell was that? And did you honestly expect to win that game, going through the motions out there? So it's frustrating. And on top of that, now, I mean, what would this weekend look like if their power play was, 12 for 98 or whatever it's been all year, that power play where it doesn't get you anything ever. It's a completely different outlook. It's just crazy how a power play contributing, obviously they're not going to keep going at the clip that they've been going since they fired Savard, but like a 20-25% power play just does wonders for you. It's the difference in so many games.
Yeah, honestly, the conclusion I jumped to is that they hated Marc Savard, and that's why they're starting to play hockey. It honestly makes no sense, like 0 sense. And maybe this just a quick, hey, we're back kind of 3 games, and we'll see this week. Like, it gets a bit tougher. I know the Devils have been struggling, but they're going to give them an honest effort. Jack Hughes is back. Sheldon Keefe's back in Toronto for another game. They embarrassed the Leafs. I think it was back in November, a game I was at where they destroyed them. So I wonder about that. Then they got Winnipeg Thursday. So we're going to find out a lot about this Maple Leafs team, specifically in the month of January. And it's just been that type of year, watching the game Saturday. Willie scores like 3 minutes in. It's on the power play. And, of course, he gets hurt, misses the last 14, 15 minutes of the second, doesn't come back for the third. Then our hopes get up because after the game, Berube's like he's making the trip to Detroit, gets to Detroit, doesn't play. It's now day-to-day is what they're calling it. For day-to-day in Toronto could mean he's back tomorrow against Jersey, or we don't see him till after the Olympic break.
I know. That's the funny thing. What did it look like, his left ankle there, or
Looked
what?
like
He
it,
kind of rolled
tweak.
on his. It's kind of weird to be an escape, but I don't know, to travel with the team, and it seems like it's not going to be this extended period of time, but who knows? I mean, where is Anthony Stolarz? And I thought some of these guys were going to be like ready. Carlo, I thought, was kind of almost ready. And again, just weird things with injuries in Toronto. I don't expect Willie to be out very far. I don't know why I'm saying that, but just from the little bits and pieces you can take and from the history, I don't think it's going to be one of those things where they're shielding him and it's weeks and weeks and it's supposed to be a couple days, but I have been wrong before. We'll see. It's I don't know. I did having Willie out on Sunday and the effort and the come together and the chemistry is just, it still looked better than it has a lot of the time this year. And again, I don't know where I stand. If they get hot and go on a 5-6 game rip, or how many teams can they leapfrog in there? They've got some games in hand on some of them. They don't have games in hand on others. It's just weird. It's like I can't really relate this to other times where you're this far back, but you're actually that close. It's again, it's going to be weird. I know they can rattle off points, but it's going to be hard to leapfrog that many teams with everybody playing and playing each other often.
I can't remember the last time, again, I was checking standings on December 29th, but that just seems to be the feel on a nightly basis. I mean, you look around the division, the Florida Panthers, that stallion Matthew Tkachuk is back skating. He's going to come back in the next couple of games here. They got the Caps tonight. They got Montreal tomorrow. They got the Winter Classic on Friday against the Rangers. Tkachuk's around the corner. Even watched that game on Sunday. Like, Tampa's up 4-1 in the Montreal Canadiens. They blow that. Next thing you know, Tampa wins in a shootout, but Montreal gains that extra point. And this is what we've been talking about for the last couple months is like, yeah, you win games, but how much ground do you make up in the standings? Because it seems like everybody's getting OT. Like, Montreal's in OT every game. It's insane to me.
Yeah, those 3-point division games suck, but I think that's what it's going to be for the rest of the year. It's going to be watching the standings and climbing here and watching one team go on a little skid, but it's going to, and then you're going to get into that January, February, and it's going to be like, it's just going to be a pure numbers game. It's going to say you have to win this many of the next X games or you don't have a chance at the playoffs. It's going to come down to that, and that number is going to be whatever it is, but you go on a little 3-game slide and like you're done. And that's just, and even if they're playing inspiring hockey and they're doing X, Y, and Z, like the hole you've put yourself in from just a dog shit start to the season might be their demise still. But again, I'm going to check the standings every couple of days and see what they can do. What is the over under? I would love to know on them making the playoffs. Is it a coin flip?
I think it would be even worse than that. Like, I'm Mr. Doom and Gloom. I don't think they're making the playoffs. I don't have it in front of me. Would have to go over the Bet365, but I think maybe they're slightly favored is my prediction right now to make the playoffs. It's a lot of teams to climb, and they've lost a lot of points here in the first half, and the schedule gets really tough. Like, that's lost in this conversation is how relatively easy, quote unquote, the schedule was. Like, I think if we look back and do a year in review here, Rosie, like that's now not 1, but 2, but 3 losses to the Detroit Red Wings. And 2 of those games were in regulation. Like, those are valuable points. And that's why Zach Phillips lost his mind last night, probably.
I know. You're going to, depends how the season goes. If it doesn't go well, you're going to look back and you'll probably miss the playoffs by like 2 points. And you'll just look back at all the 2 points you've pissed down your leg in the month of October and November and parts of December. So we'll see. Again, on the positive side of things, it's funner to watch them now. At least in the last couple of games. Is this the new norm? Are they more inspired? It's just, again, like you started the show, like it was Marc Savard that made you guys just playing like morons, and now you're all inspired and ready to just go through walls for Sullivan, the power play coach. Very weird, but I think that the heat is off Berube now, and it's off Tree Living now as far as, am I going to be here tomorrow? And I'm curious to see what the team does firstly, and what the organization does around them as far as, are you going to try to get into a playoff spot? Are you going to make a move? Do you trade a goaltender? What is that trade deadline going to look this year? I don't even know what direction I want them to go. Some people are like, do not make a move to try to get better this year for nothing. And other people are like, well, you're right there on the cusp of the playoffs. Why not try to make your team a little bit better and get into the playoffs? And I don't know where I sit on it, man. It's just it's an interesting time to be a Leaf fan for all the wrong reasons, to be honest with you.
You're right. And man, did you see Friedman's reporting over the weekend regarding Pete DeBoer?
Yeah.
Like, when's the last time we saw that in the NHL world? If you guys missed it, Elliot Friedman reported that through a back channel, not even directly, I believe, Pete DeBoer reached out to Craig Berube and said, hey, I'm not focused on the Maple Leafs job, citing, I know how it feels to be on the other side of that. A, really good guy for doing that, but B, like, holy shit, this market can eat you up, can't it?
Who else needs to do that? And are you telling me that if they can, Berube, and dangle X amount of $1 million a year
I don't want it.
5 years to DeBoer?
Yeah, what happened, Rosie? That's my question. What happens if Berube loses his job and they offered it to DeBoer, and he's like, you know what? I can't do it now, can I?
I don't know. $25 million goes a long way for a lot of people. Interesting to see. I always wonder how much, like, everyone's like, wow, MLSE has money coming out their ears and money's not an option, not an issue. And it's not, but they're also a business. Like, are they interested in pissing $20 million down their leg? Like, I don't care how big your business is. Nobody really likes doing that. And I wonder if that has anything to do with holding on to Berube and how long his leash is, or is it just like, these are the guys we went with and we believe in them, and the guys aren't playing on the ice for the guy the way they should? Just, you always wonder where their mindset is, and all you can go off is their actions. But it does look like those guys, by all accounts, the heat has been taken off of them for the time being, but it was considerably hot there for those guys, and we were wondering if they'd make it on a road trip or make it through this or that, and it seems like that's cooled off right now.
And if you didn't watch our watch along last week, we've got a new slogan. Now we go as a thing of the past. It's premature webaculation is the new slogan, that if the Maple Leafs make the playoffs, we're going to get that on a t-shirt for all of you guys out there. That's going to be a hot seller for sure, I think.
We're so back. Well,
yeah.
we're laughing in the group chat because we say it so many times. It's like, oh God, there it is. Like, this is what we're looking for. All this ozone time, puck possession, the threateningness of some of our players, moving it around, the exuberance. Like Nick Robertson has been impressing me. Like he's a firecracker, man. And we've been dying for some passion and some exuberance on this team, and he's showing it right now. Nice guy looks to be looking a lot stronger, finding some chemistry. There's reason to be like, are we back? And it's so easy to do in this market. I mean, we get chirped about it, and probably rightfully so, because we're hot one minute, cold the next. We're in this team and we're totally off of them. And people from the outside don't really see that's what the team gives us, man. That's what the team shows us. Like, we go on a 6-game heater and then we just fill our pants and we look like we're not even interested in being there. And then they show another glimpse, and then it's all over the place, total yo-yo. But it's nice, I will say, watching those last couple of games, because they're a hell of a lot just funner to watch than some of those flatline games that I just want to turn off before they're even over, because they're so boring and they're giving you nothing to get excited about. That was a little different story this weekend.
You're right. I think if I look back at those last 3 games, I can deal with that, because the compete level was there, the effort was there, and I was thoroughly entertained as a fan. So I'll take that. By the way, just to finish off our conversation and the Leafs potentially making the playoffs, and thank you to producer Vic for doing the research. Right now, the Maple Leafs, courtesy Bet365, our friends, yes, plus 200 to make the playoffs, no, minus 250. So if you want to stew in that debate until our On the Money segment, or our segment Final Call coming up later on, then maybe you make your pick on if the Maple Leafs are going to make the playoffs, okay?
Yes, that's a tough one. Plus 200 to sneak in there. Obviously, a lot of that goes off numbers and stats and probabilities and the past performances of the league. Doesn't look like they're too high on them sneaking in, even though they're 2 points back. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
It's
like,
yeah.
say the season just started and you don't win your first game and you're 2 points back of like 7 teams. It's not like, oh, we gotta, you know what I mean? Like, but
yeah,
it's so funny being this log jammed. That many teams being this log jammed. I think it's all right. We'll wait for our Bet365 segment to see what I think of that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's got to do with the schedule. Like, they've played some fluff opponents, man. They do not, they don't deserve to be 2 points out of a playoff spot as we have this conversation. And I think they're going to get fed here in the second half, but I've been wrong before. Our Super Chat charity partner is Sick Kids. Want to make sure that your question or comment gets on the show, hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research intensive children's hospital in Canada and 3rd in the world. We got our first Super Chat right now to get to. Top Cheese writes in, off topic, nice pick of Rosie there, Nick. I don't know what you're talking about, Top Cheese. Rosie needs a headshot of Berga on his shelf too. Where's the chem? It's not a one-way street. I'll just answer this. Rosie doesn't have the time to go to anywhere and get pictures developed of me, okay? The guy's a busy dude. He's coaching kids, being a family man, being a father.
There's one in particular that I was thinking about throwing up. It's from your past, where you're a different looking person. In many ways.
That'd be pretty good. Yeah, you can do it. I mean, if you want to spend the time to go get a picture, then do it. But I think it was just a nice little add-on to my background. You know, the early days of Leafs Morning Take, both our backgrounds were atrocious, and we have so many people to thank. Amel Delic, Nick Caroli among them, for just fixing things up for us remotely here. And I've had a nice touch that nobody's ever done that I've ever seen, is having like a nice gesture to the coast in the background. Like when it's Peñota, I got Peñota. Last year when it was Huts, I had Huts. Anthony Stewart back in the day. It's like a tip in the chapeau a bit, you know?
Yeah, I was just doing a thing for the Flyers, like Nasty Knuckles, and they had my head shot, and they're just wondering my hair is so short and I'm so white, and I got this big shiner from Aaron Asham scrap when I first got to Philly. So I laugh at those old headshots sometimes. Thanks for the support, Nikolai.
My favorite headshot of you is the Flyers one with the flow. Like, I could only wonder, and I wonder if you were single in those days, what you were pulling, how much you were pulling, because that flow looked really, really sound on you, man. I'll say that.
That was in my prime.
A lady
it was so
killer.
long. pretty gross. It was pretty wild. But my dad was just like, Jesus, get a haircut. But you got to rock a real long once in your career. It was fun scrapping and just having it flying all over the place like those guys from the past. So had to do her. But moving on from my headshots, please.
Did you ever rock the Carcillo bra strap? I don't even know if he wore the bra strap, but a very Italian move in the last 25 years to wear the bra strap over the hairline kind of thing. You ever rock that?
No,
that wouldn't be you, would it?
No headgear, no accessories.
That wouldn't be you. I could see you wearing like an N1 headband for warm-ups.
Yeah, it's very me.
And then you put the powder in the air. I could see that. At the Leafs Nation 401 here on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast, make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Crave the Stats is a presentation of Uber Eats. Every time the Leafs play at home, you can get these exclusive deals only on Uber Eats. Firehouse Subs, Bogo Brisket, Hattrick, Kibo Sushi, Bogo California Roll, Shelby Shawarma, Bogo Traditional Wrap. That's right, buy one, get one. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Let's get to the OT winner here against Detroit, because Morgan Rielly, he just always seems to be the brunt of the ridicule. And I don't understand this one. It was a 2-on-1. I don't know what he's supposed to do. If he goes to Edvinsson, then it's a tap in for Dylan Larkin. Just an unfortunate play. It was a great night for Hildeby, I felt.
Oh, it was unfortunate. The whole thing to me is like, Hildeby's coming out. Okay, you're playing this puck. They're usually pretty good at playing that puck. But he opens up his paddle and just like a bunker shots it, like flip wedges it and flops it up in the air. And Matthews, like if you just hold your paddle flat and just smack that to Matthews, it's probably going to get to him. But he just got under it and like popped it up in the air. Then he's got to get his ass back. He was probably panicking. It's overtime. I've decided to leave my crease like to an extreme degree.
Dude, and then that was the leafiest goal of all time. Okay. like just the sequence of events that led to that, you know?
And then Matthews could have still got to it, but like lost an edge and then kind of buckled his knee and then couldn't get there because he was kind of surprised. Then you got Michelli, like defensive-minded Michelli, just getting walked, like having no idea what angle is or anything like that. Gets walked, and then Mo's trying to like protect the back door. Yeah, in hindsight, you could have put some more aggression on the guy going to the net, and Hildeby could have come across. It was just a calamity of errors, and unfortunate too, because 20 seconds before, like, can you imagine the market right now if Mark gets loaded up that, if Matthews loaded up that bomb and just barred it, which he did. It's just an inch and a half difference. Oh, it stings, man. It is very Leafy stuff. Matthews is almost back with his shot and wins a game in overtime just to go 2-0 on the weekend, back-to-backs. But instead, there's this almost funny calamity of errors to end up in the back of your net, and you actually lose, and we're right back where we started to
Dude, that was the Benny Hill theme song. It was the Benny Hill theme song. If you had to grab a nutshell of this Maple Leaf season, that was it. Like Hildeby, I thought he was out of his mind last night. Like he has been such a great story. And we talked about this when he signed the contract prior to the season, but he has been such a saving grace for this team. We talked about Stolars earlier on. Like he's played a handful of games without, Hildeby, they'd be 10 points out of a playoff spot right now. I strongly feel that way. So I want to give him credit, but I just thought it was the Leafiest thing ever, considering the way this season has gone. The fact that your top sniper is probably on a breakaway. He probably misses the net by 67 feet anyways. But just, what the Benny Hill theme song's all I thought about. Like the fact that he chips that, I don't know what, then Matthews trips, like just a sequence of events that led to that goal. And again, I was really impressed with Detroit's blue line last night, man. Like we've been talking about that blue line for 10 years. When are they all going to put it together, that team? But Edvinsson looked like a horse. Satter is probably a Norris candidate right now. And Axel Sandin Pellikka, who won back-to-back years of top defenseman at the World Junior. Like they're set up pretty nicely there in Detroit. I'm starting to believe a bit more in that team right now.
Yeah, I think it's about time they hit their stride. They got some players, like you mentioned, that Edvinsson or whatever you say. Like I thought he was dead. I thought you were dead. You come back and score the winner. Like the way you're limping off, you don't limp off like that unless you broke something on your body. Something's done. You don't come back. I'm just kidding, ready to go 10 minutes later. Like, that's the shit on my kids' team that I'm like, dude, either you're hurt or you're not. Like, let's not put on this huge performance. I know it hurts, but if it's going to be completely gone for you to be able to play in the National Hockey League in 10 minutes, what's with this performance you're putting on? And I was like, oh fuck, usually like a blocked shot doesn't do anything, but like maybe broke his kneecap, like maybe like the way he was acting. And then everyone's like, how heroic is it to come back? It's not heroic when you put on a fucking huge performance and theatrics and dramatics about getting hit with a puck to come back and be totally fine. It means you put on a big performance. It doesn't mean you're super tough. It just drove me nuts that, of course, this guy that you think's gone for 3 weeks comes back and scores the overtime winner. I was very annoyed by that, but weird things bother me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And again, I think to break down the weekend as a whole, 3 games now since Savard got canned, they're 2-0-1. So like, I hate moral victories. I would have loved to see 2 regulation victories here against teams you're chasing in Ottawa and Detroit, but I'll take 3 and 4. I still don't know what this week's going to look like, specifically, obviously, against the Devils team that's hungry. They've lost a bunch of games recently. Winnipeg, Scott Arniel could be on the hot seat, but the Leafs play the Jets well all the time. So a lot of questions, but again, a lot of positives. You talked about Matthew Nyes earlier on, became the 5th player on the Leafs to get to double digits in goals, but he had a bit of pep. Like I wonder if just those extra couple days off really helps some of these guys like Matthews and Nyes specifically, maybe, smaller sample size, but I really noticed quite a bit from those 2 guys specifically over the weekend. Nick Robertson's another guy I thought I had a really good weekend here.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I really feel like there was some kind of a reset hit. Obviously, they make a move. They move Marc Savard. So there's just a different voice, a different look. I can imagine like that power play. It's funny. It's not like they completely reinvent the wheel. And it's not like Marc Savard was so incapable of showing anything positive on the power play, but just a different feel and a different look and a different voice and a different video and a different, let's look over here. And what about this guy over here? Do you guys like this feel? And the guy's just telling you stuff that you haven't heard before. And it's not old hat, grindy in a rut anymore. And it's funny how mentally you can just elevate yourself. And that's what I feel like has happened to the power play. But the team in general, having that little break, couple days off, whatever their meetings were before, it does look like they've had a little tweak, like a little, let's readjust here and look at this from a different light, along with the rest you get. It just does feel like a more exuberant team. And I think they were lacking that so much throughout the majority of this season so far, with little shades here and there of having it. But for the most part, they've been lacking that throughout the whole season. And it does feel like that little break has given them some kind of a reset, and it looks better. And I hope it continues. And again, we'll see what this division brings and what they can do with the schedule, but it is an uphill battle regardless of what they do here from here on out. But I guess I like what I see, and I'm glad they've been able to pivot and find a little bit better hockey, because that was a lot better to watch. I wish that was the whole goddamn season, and we would be in a much better position right now, probably leading the division.
Probably. At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Doing some yeoman's work as we do this show behind the scenes, by the way. Confirmed guest for tomorrow with me and Dave Pagnotta, Pete DeBoer is coming on the show tomorrow. So I work quickly here. So just confirm here with Pete DeBoer. He's going to join us tomorrow here on Leafs Morning Take. But I thought it was really, pardon me?
Love it. I said that's a big get. I want to pick his. I won't be able to, but maybe I'll be on the chat firing some super chats or something.
Yeah, this from Jay Rosehill.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up too. I thought it was pretty cool, as me being the Leaf fan for so many years, to see Steve Sullivan. I'll be honest, I didn't even know Steve Sullivan was with the Marlies, but promoted to take Marc Savard's job. It lasted, 1 game without Savvy on the bench. Sullivan comes in, and I love that grin. They score the power play goal from Nylander like 2 minutes in. First shot on goal, the 8th time the Leafs have done that this season. And the little grin, as you see on your screen right now, from Steve Sullivan being like, I know what I can bring to the table.
And I feel like that's a grin of like, these are the guys I get to work with, Matthews to Nylander, and right off the bat, something they probably talked about and they just apply it. He's probably sitting here going, how the hell has this thing not been clicking? Like, it's an anomaly. And I think he's a smug little smirk there, because he's like, these guys are filthy, and they are. And I don't think that he would have any idea why they are as bad as they are on the power play, but they obviously needed some shake up and a different feel, and they've got it now and they're having success. So whether you want to look at it as him doing something physical or just the mental vibe check of moving on from Savard and having a new look in there, whatever it is, it's working. And it would be hard to coach that power play and see it come to fruition and not have a little smirk on your face. Like, they should be an absolute frigging weapon for this team. And another leafy thing for this group is that it has been an absolute hindrance on the team the entire season for absolutely no reason.
I heard that a lot this weekend, that the mental aspect is what got the Maple Leafs power play going. To me, it's just execution, okay? These guys are professional athletes to get paid lots of money to score goals, and they're very creative, and they do this and that with the face-off dot in warm-ups or shooting the puck. I mean, at the end of the day, how much coaching, goes into coaching a power play? It just, for me, it was just execution. I think it was just timeliness. Like, again, very leafy, as you bring up, that Marc Savard's gone. Like, I could only wonder, I wonder how difficult it probably is for Marc Savard to watch Leafs games right now. But if he was watching, looking at that, being like, where the hell was that 2 weeks ago? Like, I'm sure at this point, man, we've been talking about this power play in Toronto for like 10 years. They've tried everything. And to watch that and be like, it was almost like a broken play to start the Nylander goal too. It wasn't like they were snapping it around. It's like, wow, this power play is so different.
Yeah, and I don't think, like I said, they haven't reinvented the wheel. And for Marc Savard to watch, I'm sure he's just like, of course they do. Of course the levee breaks when they're not doing anything different than what I was saying. And I'm sure it isn't that different, but it is a mental game and a mental sport, and you do get in ruts. And as a professional, like, yeah, they know that their job is to execute, but it's not like, you're banging your head against the boards and you're trying to make things work and everything's against the grain and you can't find the chemistry and you can't find the seams, and one guy's zigging when you think you is going to zag and nothing's hooking up, and you get into those ruts as an athlete. It's not like, wait a sec, I get paid a lot of money for this, I'm going to go out there and score now. Like, fuck, it just doesn't. It's easy from the outside to be like, this is bullshit. I get it, but it wears on you, and it's the course of a season, and you get into these spaces and it's hard to pull out of it, and the energy in the room is off and weird, and you can't quite find anything positive. And there's just, I can relate to it because I know what it's like to have that job as your job, and you get into those ruts, and sometimes it's weird what breaks you out of it and what pulls a team together, or a unit or a line or a power play. But nonetheless, I don't really care on the specifics on what gets it going. If they can continue at a clip that's more top 10 in the NHL, it's going to help them with the predicament they're in the standings for sure.
1000%. And good to see the Timmins tornado out there. Our guy, Steve Sullivan, now the assistant coach, assuming the role of Marc Savard. And all in all, I mean, a lot of positives to grab from over the weekend. I'm still trying to figure out why Phil Myers is on this team. And that's taking nothing away from Phil Myers. I can't be the only one to think like there's got to be other options. Like, even Simone Benoit, he is far from a complete player, but I don't know if it's because Myers shoots right. Like, it's just really bizarre. Like, I thought for sure after that game against Ottawa, Myers was coming out, Benoit was coming in, yet they kept it the same. Are you seeing this differently, Rosie?
I mean, I've seen Myers play pretty rough hockey and think that his time is done, and then he's in there for Benoit. I don't love it, and I do think that having that right-handed shot is what really makes the coaching staff say, if it's a coin toss on these two guys, we're going to stick with the righty. I don't think it's going to last. I think Benoit will get back in there. I think they wanted Benoit to have a little bit of a reset, but if you go back to last year playoffs, the season that they had, Benoit was solid, and I think that he can be again, and I want to see him excuse me, doesn't happen very often. I want to see him back in the lineup sooner than later, and I like him back there. it'll be interesting to see. Again, I think the back end is one of those things that could change if they do decide to make some moves, and it'll be interesting to see who gets shuffled out. But yeah, I think the right-handed shot is saving Myers of being in there, but a lot of plays where you're just like, that's just not sustainable to be on a team that's going to do anything but be average to shitty. Having a D out there like him that tends to have those breakdowns and those bonehead panicked plays that are just yucky and end up being turnovers or being held in your zone or not clearing it, not making the play, or thinking I got support somewhere where you don't. And yeah, it just keeps adding up. And again, I'm more of a Benoit fan than I am Myers, but there's a reason they're doing what they're doing, and he's getting a little sit down, Mr. Benoit.
Yeah, and I know our people, our listeners and our viewers are the smartest people, smarter than us, and bringing up that, Benoit's not great on the right side. And I thought Myers, to a couple points here in the chat, was way better in the second half of the game against Detroit. But I just can't cope with this Riley and Myers pairing. It's just not going to work for me. What does work for me is Chris Tanev, man. I love those ISO shots of him chewing gum on the bench. Very Tate McRae, just like horse mouth, like Cal. Like it's great to see this guy in a rocking chair. It doesn't matter if it's Game 7 or Game 6 or preseason. And the numbers speak for themselves. Like, Jake McCabe's a +7 in 3 games since Chris Tanev came back to the lineup. Like, he's just a very solidifying force. He's very chill. Great first pass too, which has been tough to find on this team this year.
Yeah, they've been missing him with the amount that he's missed there, and to have him back, obviously you're concerned about his health and his long-term ability to play at the level that he's used to playing at his age without going down to injury, especially when the injuries that he's dealing with are like stretchery off the ice, talk about your long-term health type of injuries. That's no fun for anybody. But that aside, when he's in the lineup, man, he's just so solid. Like he doesn't seem to panic. And it's kind of the same as a goaltender to me, where, sometimes goaltenders are like swimming and scrambling, and it's just like, yeesh, this guy's fighting it. And then other times it's just like, even on some really tough, like cross ice plays, bong, bong, just push and block and stop and back to my stance. And they're just steady Eddie. And that always breeds confidence throughout the team. And I think Tanev's got a lot of that too, being a D-man with that type of mentality. And like you said, just ISO cam him out there. Watch him when he gets into a tough spot, going back for a puck on his backhand with pressure, where it's up against the dasher, and it's just this tough, awkward play. Zoing, zoing. He just finds the little place, finds the guy, whether he pulls it and throws it to the middle, back to your D partner, has a little chip to himself or up to the winger. Like, just these simple little plays that are so much harder than they look when a guy like him is doing them easily. But he's huge to have back there. I agree with you. It's been nice to watch him. I think he really calms down the back end.
He's just so chill. And again, he's a perfect example. And we don't even know if this resonates with this team. You watch that guy play hockey and you want to play just a bit harder. And that's been the case throughout his NHL career, whether he's Calgary, Vancouver, Dallas, the list goes on. He just so infectious in the way he plays the game. Like, it's very chill, but just knows his job, knows his role. Feels like a quiet leader. Like, even if you've had a chance to interview him or be in a scrum, like, doesn't say very much, but he's very effective with the words he does deploy. And it's a small sample size. It's 3 games. I'd be the first to admit there were plenty of games to start the year where Tanev was part of that committee that were dreadful defensively. But there's just something so stabilizing about the guy. I love him, man.
Yeah, he was big in their playoff run last year, if you want to call it that. He's huge to have back. And I mean, how much do you want to put the Leafs start first 25, 30 games on injuries? I mean, there's room to say that. Both their starting goaltenders have gone down. We've ran with the third and fourth goalies. Our back end has been decimated. Our big acquisition there in Brandon Carlo from last year didn't look very good, and then goes down for a considerable amount of time. Tanev, I mean, you can't say how much you've missed him going down to injury. Everyone, Lawton and Matthews and Willie and Nyes was hurt. It's like, yeah, they've been banged up, and every team has been. But I don't I don't put it all on injuries by any chance, but there's one guy where you could say that really hurts your team having Tanev out. I really believe that. And like all the things you just mentioned that you've seen out of him since coming back, and he makes everyone around him better. Like McCabe is a beast in general, and then he's just them together is you're not going very far this team without Tanev in the lineup, and I think we've seen that.
I think it's interesting too watching the game, and they didn't really say much on social media after the game, so I assume he's okay. But Chris Tanev, I believe, went down the hallway. But I'm always careful when I watch the broadcast because you don't see everything. And Tanev goes down the hall like 4 or 5 times a game. Like that's just the way he plays. Very black and blue player, blocks a lot of shots. So we haven't heard anything else. I know a couple people in the chat talking about Tanev potentially being hurt, but having said that, it was a weird weekend for that. Even watching the game on Saturday, not much discussion on the broadcast or more so on social media about Nylander. And then shift by shift, you don't see him out there. So at the very least, something to monitor ahead of this game against the Devils on Tuesday is the status of Chris Tanev. It would be very leafy if he can't play in that game. But he just strikes me as a guy, unless the guy just can't walk, like he is going to play in that hockey game.
Well, yeah, I just hope it's, he took a shot off the ankle or some bullshit like that. Whoop-de-doo, you got a bruise, as opposed to what he's been dealing with all season long. And has he re-aggravated that? I think that that's something that kind of hangs over the precipice in my mind of, oh God, just don't let that happen, because of all the things we just mentioned on Chris Tanev being such a big part of this back end. And, that's an injury that I think was getting tossed around that is like, career ending, and I got to think long term and about my health and my family, and those kind of conversations are not cool at all. So when you see him walk down the tunnel, he's a guy that's probably going to get banged up here and there. He's got to go fix some equipment or check something out, or did I break a piece of my foot on that shot or whatever. But there is a little bit of that in me going, Jesus, don't get that report after the game that he is now going to see a specialist, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully not, but no reports on it. I don't know if that's just snuck under the radar after that interesting loss, or if there's just nothing to report there. But we'll keep an eye on that on Chris Tanev's health situation here. Hopefully there's nothing to say.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I won't lie, I'm a bit confused at the way they're utilizing / deploying Easton Cowan. So he plays 953. He comes back. We'll talk about Lawton too, but Cowan specifically, like I don't think his play warranted being a health bomb for like 3 games. And again, every team does this, but like, how does Matias Michelli go from being a health bomb for 9 straight games to playing an OT with Austin Matthews? Like it's really, really bizarre, man. And again, I'm not a coach. It's so easy for me to sit here on my couch and be like, holy fuck, what's that guy doing out there? But it really is, when you think about it closer, you're like, wow, that's really bizarre stuff.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, the reason he's in the press box is defensively, he's a liability, but he has a mind that is just pure offense. So sorry, that's not good enough. You're going to watch some games because you're not playing the way we want to defensively. But when you do get back in there and it's 3-on-3, all that open ice, I can see why you'd give him that shot, being a pure offensive, mind. So I get that. And if you're going to use him, you got to use him to his strengths. But, like that no look backhand slow pass up to the point on our first goal, I think it was oh my God, that should have been picked off by that forward who, by all accounts, was there to pick it off. He's probably on a breakaway, and like, how disgusting does Michelli look there? But it snuck under his blade or whatever, and the big clapper there got through. It's those kind of plays that are going to put him in the press box, but they're trying to get him going. They're trying to create offense. They're trying to get the power play going. They're trying to find guys to play with Austin Matthews. And again, if he can lay off of that no look pass shit and not turn the puck over and protect it and prioritize it a little bit more, I think they could use his offensive output. And if he could find some chemistry with somebody, he hasn't looked too bad. But I know what you mean. It's like this guy's in the presser for that amount of times, and now he's playing with Matthews in an overtime. Kind of a bit of an eye roll, but I think it's just the dynamic between how purely offensive he thinks and how much that can do for him if it's clicking, and then how much of a detriment to the team it is if on the other side of the puck he's just being completely useless.
I know you wanted to get to Scott Lawton too. I really, he gets a lot of breakaways, man. He's got to start cashing on these. It started in that game last night, the backhand play. But man, I just love the spark that Lawton brings. I do feel like this Leafs team has been a bit different since he came back into the lineup the latest time. But do we think he's playing enough is the question, Rosie.
Well, the numbers are pretty low, but I'm sitting there looking at the lines and who they and how much they play. And like, yeah, it's not that much to play 10 and a half minutes or whatever it was. But like, to get him more minutes, you have to completely disrupt the lines, right? Like where are you going to get him the extra minutes? You have to put him up with somebody and give like it's harder to do than you would just be like, oh, just play him 14 and a half minutes or 15 minutes. It's like, well, where, with who, and on what line? You could just say play the fourth line a whole lot more. But, Chief wants to get the matchups going. He wants to, have his big dogs play a certain amount. That third line with Waugh in the middle has been looking pretty damn good with Robertson and Joshua. Yeah. So you don't want to break them up or suck them back. It's just, I bet you if you asked Chief, he'd be like, I would like to, but I can't find the minutes for him right now the way things are sitting. I would imagine his answer would be. But I do agree with you. You look at what Scotland brings to the table and then see his minutes, and it's like, you could use him more than that. Like he could be, he has more to offer than those amount of minutes, I guess. But I just keep coming back to the fact that he doesn't want to disrupt the lines and start shoving a square peg in a round hole just to get Scotty Lawton 3 more minutes of ice.
I don't want to overreact, but if Scott Lawton's camp came to me and I was Brad True Living right now and said, hey, look, I want to re-sign, I'm doing it. If it's a 2, 3, maybe even 4-year contract, regardless of the way this year goes, if they become sellers at the deadline, he's still a guy I want in my room. You know where I really feel, a guy like Scott Lawton is the PK. They're now top 5 in the NHL in the penalty kill, Rosie. Like it's happened in short order, but it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody that Lawton comes back and they've really, really, really taken off PK wise. And producer Vic no longer calling for Derek Lalonde's head, which is great too.
Yeah, it's funny, man. That's one thing that kind of goes unnoticed. And a good penalty kill often goes as the unsung heroes. You don't get a lot of, like, a hot power play gets a lot more press coverage and everything than a hot penalty kill. But like, think of the games we've watched and the penalties that they have taken. It's just like clockwork. They just push it to the side, kill it off. Like, it's not very often it's like, oh, great, now we're killing again, and they're scrambling around. It's kind of funny for a team that's not known to be like incredibly defensively gifted to have that reliable of a penalty kill, and a team that is supposed to be offensively gifted has one of the worst power plays in the league, and sometimes it looks like in the world. But it is interesting. True. Hats off to the penalty kill, and I agree with you there. That's a lot on Scotty Lawton. He brings that to the table. That's one of the things with Austin Matthews too. Not a lot of superstars, and I know he's not playing like a superstar this year, but can kill penalties the way Matthews can, and find ways to be defensively helpful. That's a feather in his cap too. But yeah, I don't think enough has been said about the PK. They're rock solid.
Would you re-sign Lawton? Like, is there more appeal in your world than trading this guy for, I don't know what it would take, maybe a second and a prospect, or would you just keep a guy like Scott Lawton? I think it's I don't want to say it's easy to find guys like this, but I love the homegrown type conversation, the energy, what it sounds like he brings to the room. I think there's just a lot of positives and tangibles to grab from this guy.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, if you get rid of him, it depends what direction they want to go, man. Are we in a win now window, or is that ship sailed? Can we get back to that level, and what's it going to take to get back to being considered a contender? Is this play that they've had so far this season, is this what they are now? Do you have to change the team drastically to get better, or is this the fall of some injuries and some low performance by superstars? Is the system bad? Is the coach bad? Like, what are we underperforming, or is this what you can expect? I've always thought that this team on paper is way, way, way better than what they're showing with their performances. Leads me to believe that there's more there. And I don't know what Tree Living is going to do at the deadline in this season. And I don't know if he's going to try to make the team better, if he's going to sell some things off. Like I don't know which way it's going to go. And I don't know which way I want it to go. They're buying.
You didn't hear the scrum last week from Brad Tree Living after the Savard firing? They're buying, man. They're looking to add. They are looking
I know
to
you
add,
say that.
which might have been the scariest day of the season for me, hearing those words from the GM. I'll be honest.
Well, you want to say the right things. And, if they're sticking with them, then they're sticking with the process, and they believe in the group and the team, and they think they're a body or two away from being what they want to be. Yeah, I really think it's going to depend on how they play from like the month of January. Will say a lot, right? Tough schedule. Are you moving up in the standings? Are you taking peeks at that wild card spot, or better? Can you just climb into the wild card spot by going on a 5-game heater and getting some luck in the standings? Or are you going backwards? Are you taking a step forward and 2 step backs all the time? Are injuries going to catch up to you? What's your goaltenders continuing to play like? I think it's going to, where this team goes is going to depend a lot on the next, 12 to 15 games. And I think we'll have a better idea of what they need to do for the future.
Sub Ozar here in the chat makes some pretty good points. It's a buyer's market, which, again, if you don't think you're a perennial contender to win the Stanley Cup, I'd be inclined to listen to that market. And if somebody offers you some good value on maybe even Lawton, McMahon, Ekman Larson, there wouldn't be one guy off limits outside of maybe Matthew Nyes for me. I'm probably different than most people. I'm open for business. I would be open for business right now. I just, maybe you take one step back to take 2 steps forward. I'm not saying that's going to happen here in this market, but considering what we're seeing, like, I was laughing prior to the holiday freeze, like Columbus and Seattle hooked up on a deal, and Mason Marchment went for a 2nd and a 4th. I wake up here on December 29th. I believe Columbus is last place in the Eastern Conference, and that's the team who got Mason Marchment, right, from Seattle, who has won 4 in a row and is 1 point out of a playoff spot. So I think that approach by Seattle, granted they're not going to make the playoffs, but it's a pretty honest approach if you can sort of pick up some really good assets.
Yeah, I mean, GMs are going to make deals that they think make their team better, but it's just, I just can't help. I can't decide on whether I want them to be a buyer or a seller. Like when things were bad, I was like, let's torch it. Let's try to get that pick back from Boston. A top 5. Let's announce that we're open for business. Let's have conversations with guys with no move clauses and see where their heads are at. Like I was there. But this team and this market has a way of flipping you around. And if they start to play some pretty good hockey over the next 10, 12 games, and they're looking like they're consistent and have figured out the answers to their woes, and then all of a sudden you can put, a winger that could work with Matthews or a stud D to complement that top 2 pairing, all of a sudden maybe you start believing again. And we'll see if we believe
premature we-baculation.
Oh yeah, we're back. We're so back. Yeah, maybe you get some of that we-baculation back going on. I could see it happening. Ooh, stranger things have happened. This
new slogan.
Yeah,
got to be very careful with this new slogan.
They'll sneak in the playoff shirts will be printed again. We'll see, man.
Hot seller always is the Now We Go t-shirts. I still wear them in the gym all the time. For the record, if I'm the Leafs, I'm never trading with the Boston Bruins again. And I'm serious. I'm never, ever, ever trading with the Boston Bruins again. I've seen enough in my time being a Maple Leafs fan that could just last a lifetime, where I'm going to tell grandkids or grandkids hopefully one day about like, holy, you should have been there for the Kessel trade. You should have been there for the Carlo trade. But
what do you think Carlo's going to be like when he gets back? Do you think he's going to be effective? Like he was, like we were a D-man away from being so solid last year, and we did a first rounder and made some serious moves to get this guy. Do you think he's good when he gets back, or is it because he was not good before he got hurt?
Well, what these dusters online, and always careful to, pick what these guys say online, these people, I should say, is the Maple Leafs in that deal paid for term, they paid for retention, right? And that's why the price was buttered up a bit. Like we all knew Fraser Minton's a good player. I was on What Chaos last week, and obviously they're big Bruins fans, and they're asking me about Minton. I'm like, he's exactly what he was projected to be. He is a third line center. They're like, oh, I wish he finished a bit more. I'm like, yeah, the Leafs knew what they were trading in Fraser Minton. That is a third line center. Maybe one day he becomes a second line center, but he's the third line center, and that's exactly what he is in Boston. He's had a pretty decent season. But I think Brandon Carlo is like a good player when you don't notice him. I do think, and it's a recency thing too. Like he was so dog shit this year. Everybody's off on this, out in this file. But when they picked him up last year and you put him with Riley, like I don't think they were the worst pairing in the world. I think in the playoffs they had some pretty bright moments. Morgan Riley was much better in the playoffs. So my hope is that maybe this was a blip to start this year. Maybe Carlo was nowhere close to being healthy and he needed this surgery, and he comes back and he's more of a steadying force that we saw in Boston. I mean, he's a bigger dude, shoots right. He could be physical. He blocks shots. He plays in the PK. There's a multitude of reasons why the Maple Leafs and Brad Treliving specifically went after this guy. And that's my hope. Like, I'm not going to say he's going to play like an all-star, but just play closer to the guy you were in Boston. I think the Leafs will be okay with this guy.
Yeah, that's the hope too. I know he's got better in there, and I liked him last year. It just was this year. It was atrocious. Maybe he was battling some injuries or something like that, and maybe he'll feel like a new man coming back. He doesn't have the miles behind him of this rough season, and you bring him in there, and he can invigorate that back end and look and feel like a solid player. Obviously, that is the hope as we are fans of the Leafs, but I can't help but think that that's going to be sooner than later, getting him back in there and maybe bolstering that back end like he was supposed to. And again, little tweaks and little things happening in the lineup in the dressing room can make some funny changes. So again, I kind of expect them to be playing hot hockey down the stretch here. Whether it leads to climbing the standings or not will be yet to be seen, and they need to stay healthy. But I kind of feel like there's some good hockey on the horizon for this team, and it's going to slowly pull fans back into the we can do this type of mentality, which I'm all for, man. It's enough negativity. It's been such a shitty year to cover and to watch. Yeah. I'm looking forward to some better stuff, and I kind of get the vibe that it's on the horizon. The positive side of me is feeling.
I admire your positivity. Go look at the schedule in January and tell me how positive you feel about this team, man. They got some like perennial contenders coming up, and even watching that game against Dallas, I know it wasn't a 5-1 game, but like that's the cream of the crop. Like you think the Leafs are even in that vicinity right now. I don't buy it, but I do think the Carlo injury was a blessing in disguise. And the reason for that has been obviously getting to claim a guy like Troy Stecher, which has weirdly enough been a stabling force on the blue line. Like he's played 19 games, has 1 goal, 5 assists. He's a +9 player on one of the worst defensive teams in hockey. Obviously, it helps with the PK getting stronger, but he's been such a breath of fresh air. Like even the enthusiasm over the weekend. Anytime a Maple Leaf shows personality like this, you're going to love it. I will add too, we didn't really talk about it, but I love the physical pushback from the Maple Leafs over the weekend against Detroit, against Ottawa, Joseph Woll at the end of the game. Like I love that they were initiating that, and it was Stecher who started the brunt of that.
Yeah, totally. I love Stecher. You're talking about who should be kind of untouchable of not being able to be traded right now, Nyes. And I was like, Nyes and Stecher, actually, which is crazy for a waiver claim. But yes, he again, the whole weekend, I thought there was more jam, there was more physicality, there was more intensity. Yeah. It's just the looks on their face is like the sellies that they have and the exuberance of like Robertson and Stecher firing up the crowd and trying to be like, we're going to try to do something here, like get behind us type of thing is what I took from that to the fans and to the crowd in Toronto. After the game, like so many times guys just look at their feet and act like that guy just didn't do something. And Stetch is just like, fuck you, and just throws a bomb and headlocks a guy. And then Joseph Woll grabs someone by the collar and yanks them on their back. Like I like that stuff, and that's a team that's playing with a little bit of fire and that is together in this. And if they're going to have any success in climbing the standings with their tough schedule here, they're going to need a hell of a lot more of that than they've shown this year. And again, it makes me feel positive that maybe there is some hope if they are showing it like they were on the weekend, as you said.
There's a lot of hate to lose to Troy Stetcher. I know it's a small sample size, but I watched that guy play, and man, he plays hard and plays tough and plays rough. And he's not the biggest dude, but he just strikes me as a guy who hates to lose, man. Like, he takes a lot of pride in being in the NHL. This is maybe his final go of thing and his last chance here, and he's not taking it for granted. So it's been an excellent story so far. And now we're at a crossroads and a conundrum where, Carlo comes back, we'd say in the next 2-3 weeks here, and it's like, who do you take out? I mean, it's pretty simple right now. It's probably Myers and Benoit, and you keep Carlo, and Stetcher is like a foregone conclusion to stay in that lineup. But all in all, I just think to wrap in our breakdown of the weekend, I more jammed to this team. I thought OEL had a really good weekend, just his toughness, some big hits. Like, they way more engaged, like Joshua, Nick Robertson, I thought was just like a little pest out there, which is great to see. Bob McMahon's really taken on that DNA as of late. It's really, really frustrating. And people will watch his team all season long. It's like you always wonder like where that was 5 games ago, 7 games ago. And that's the big wonder as we move forward to this week and the final game of 2025 coming up on Tuesday night against the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Frustrating for sure. You just rattled off a lot of names of guys that are capable of certain things and were brought here to do them and to complement the team and each other. And it honestly hasn't gone that way this season. I've been flabbergasted that this team has been as bad as they have been at certain points in the season. But again, like I think that this team, if you can find the chemistry and it pisses me off that the thing that's in their control is what they have been lacking, right? Like your effort level, your energy level, your enthusiasm, your passion, your just all the stuff that we say so often when they're playing like dog shit. That's the stuff they're in control of. And we've been hard on the leadership for not having it and being too flippant with their attitude towards things. But when they have it, I think they can really have it. And it pisses me off because that period of time in the beginning of the season there was when they were supposed to be really finding out whose strengths are and who goes where and how to get that chemistry in our line combinations. And then they should just be hitting the ground running right now at Christmas, just taking control of the division. I think they're capable of it. They're well-rounded enough. And it's just they're probably going to find it now and go on a run of playing way better and more inspiring hockey. And it may not lead to even getting in the playoffs with just the position they've put themselves in. So frustrating to say the least, but I do think there's a good hockey team in there, and I just hope that they're able to find it and see if we can actually have some positive stuff happening here. But they got a long road ahead of them, and it's uphill.
They do. It's time now for the last call, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in the game. Use code NATION. That's NATION, NATION. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connexontario.ca. So the question we've been deliberating upon all podcasts long, will the Maple Leafs make the Stanley Cup playoffs? And courtesy of friends over at Bet365 saying yes, plus 200, no, minus 250. So, Rosie, big time to shine. What's your answer here?
I'm going positive on this thing, man.
Whoa!
They're 2 points back. I know there's a lot of teams in front, but they've got goaltending, and I think their big boys are going to pop off, and they're going to get some support. I do think Carlo's going to help out. Tanev being on the back end, I think that they're going to go on a little tear here, even against the good teams, and that's even going to bring people back into the fold even more. Is the teams that they're going to start beating here, and I think they're going to climb into a playoff spot. So I'll take that at plus 200.
Okay. Yeah, I think you have to take that. Minus 250 is just like, it's not even worth your time. I mean, just the money you would sink into that maybe to lose is just not a wise investment. I know we didn't talk about it today, but did you watch After Hours over the weekend with McDavid? That was the most personality I've seen from that guy in his career. And there was a quote that caught my eye, believe it or not. It was about one of his favorite Christmas gifts as a kid given to him by his father. It was a Maple Leafs McDavid jersey, and I thought it was interesting. A very calculated guy decided to bring that up in a show that everybody was watching, I'm sure. He's coming home, damn it.
Was it calculated, or is he just talking about what he was like when he was 9? I don't know. Interesting.
I hope so.
Yeah, so we will
me too.
It's funny. We're gonna have to wait on that McDavid watch for a little longer, but I could see it coming up. I'm really genuinely curious to see what he does. I think they get this year and one more out of him in Edmonton, and I think there's a reason he signed that deal the way he did and took the time to ink it. And I think it is because his mind does not feel like he's going to be in Edmonton forever. And I just can't wait to see if he leaves where he ends up. And I think it'll be after next season, because you're going to have that last year to be able to make a deal and not leave the Edmonton Oilers high and dry, get lots back for him, and have everyone say thanks for all the great years. Thanks for not fucking us. And off you go. Where that's going to be is where I'm really interested. But the hope's still alive that he's going to come home. I agree. And yeah, one stupid comment on a show, I bet he just shakes his head. Everyone's going nuts. I saw that clip everywhere because he mentioned he got a Leafs jersey for Christmas when he lived in Toronto as a kid.
Passion, baby.
That means he's coming back. I love it.
He's got the passion. I was more dumbfounded to find out that his brother was a Senators fan growing up. Like, imagine that household. Leafs Sens, man. Like, but yeah, I won't die until McDavid retires in the hope that this guy comes home one day. Just the excitement. I don't even care if they win. I just want to see McDavid be a Toronto Maple Leaf. So, Rosie, we'll leave it at that. One more game for the Maple Leafs in this year coming up Tuesday. Sheldon Keefe's Devils in town. They're really, really struggling. Jack Hughes back from injury, but he hasn't been the same guy. Probably came back prematurely to help his squad out. So, looking forward to that. I know you're going to be back in the mix on Wednesday to recap that game, right?
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. We'll see what these guys do. Hopefully they can take advantage of a team right now. But those revenge games in Toronto, we'll see, man.
That strikes me as a 3-point game. I think it's going to OT. That's probably my call for the betting segment coming up tomorrow. So once again, if you missed it earlier on, David Pagnotta will be in for Rosie, and Pete DeBoer is going to stop by the show tomorrow. Rosie back in the mix for one final time this year, coming up on Wednesday at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Thank you to producer Vic. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.